Well, hello, my friends, and welcome back to Musey's Modern Dreadfuls. And today we have a story I've been hankering to do. Actually, there was a slip up. We thought it was done. I don't know. It just got confused with a different story. But it's okay now because I'm covering it. Finally, I was given exclusive permission to cover this story. So hopefully in the slip up, nobody else covered it. Anyway, the story is called Out of the Dark. And it is by Reddit user JankyTank64. All right. And for those of you, I just want to let you know, if you want a little channel news, wait till the outro after I finish the story. Hopefully it'll be a one-parter, but it all depends on how much time I have. So in 5, 4, 3, 2, my first experience with the supernatural was one of the most terrible life experiences I can remember to this day. It happened when I was young and dumb and wanted to go into the world and explore. While I was out of my home country of Canada, I witnessed a horror I soon hope to forget. I had gone on a trip with some of my buddies to Montana, just below my home province of Alberta. We were originally going to stay in Yellowstone National Park, but decided to head to Glacier National Park first before camping out at Yellowstone for a few days. We finally reached Glacier National Park after a 6-hour drive and had just enough time to do a little hiking before going to our hotel in a nearby town to rest and move on toward Yellowstone. We had gotten to the park around 4:30 p.m. and decided it was a great idea to hike after dark. So we hiked up the trail, looking at the glorious views of rivers and waterfalls and of the Avalanche Creek Trail. The light began to fade rather quickly, though. While we were out about 2/3 of the way up, we had hiked into a trail about 10 kilometers. So it would take us about 2 hours to walk back down from that point. This is when shit goes downhill. My friends and I were all outdoorsy types and loved to go hiking and travel around the Rocky Mountains, but we were still inexperienced when it came to night hiking. Since the trail we were on wasn't as traveled at this point, or at this part either, the hike on the trail was hard to follow in the dark. Although every now and then we would see a sign that notified us we were going in the right direction. At some point, maybe a third of the way down, the mountain we ended up going off trail, following a different path, but we didn't know it. We were following a little rabbit trail, thinking we were still on the correct path. We began to figure out we were definitely not going the right way, as my friend checked his compass, showing we were heading deeper and deeper into Rocky Mountains, miles and miles of forest. Then begins the mass panic. My friends and I immediately turned around and began walking the way we came. But the trail we were following didn't look the same as it had before, leading us to being even more lost than before. Now, that is when we collectively noticed how quiet it had gotten. No insects, no birds, nothing. It was dead silence. I knew this was a very bad sign, as I've hunted many times, and when it gets all quiet like this, it means that there is a large predator around somewhere that is hunting. That meant we had literally just become prey to some unknown beast in the woods. I spoke up to my buddies and let them know my concerns, and we all began to get a sudden spike of anxiety when I let the guys know what was up. That was when we heard a noise that brought terror, a guttural howl from up in the mountain. It was then followed by many, many more. My heart went into my throat and I began to shake, as did most of my other friends. I say most because 2 of the party immediately dipped and started running in the opposite direction of the howls. We all followed soon after, running ourselves ragged until we looked behind and saw the shining eyes of something that was much larger than we had even anticipated. The eyes were at least 6 feet off the ground and moving toward us fast. That is when we all split up, running in random directions, hoping to lose these beasts. In despair, I realized it was never going to happen. I could hear the breath of one of these things about 20 feet behind me and gaining. All of a sudden, my friend appears from the trees to my right, and we end up running together until I cut off from him, hoping to escape. Not to ditch him, but somebody had to live through this. I know I left him to die that night, but it was a last-ditch effort that worked out in my advantage. I heard his screams from my left and ran as fast as I could away from them, with tears rolling down my face as I hear his screams for help and him shrieking in pain. Then nothing, as if he never even existed. I hated myself for that, but fight or flight kicked in. So I continued running down the mountain until I saw a familiar sight ahead of me. It was one of the trail signs showing how far you were on said trail. I stopped, checked where I was, and started running again, hoping to get away from the creatures on the mountain. Another kilometer down the trail, and I begin hearing howls getting closer and closer by the moment, causing me to run even harder. I didn't even know I had it in me. Looking ahead, I see a sign saying parking lot and zoom past it in my panic, looking for the keys in my pocket and scrambling towards the only vehicle still left in the parking lot, which was my car. I used my fob to unlock my car from a distance and ran as hard as I could toward it and slammed into the side of my own door. But I opened it, hoping that somebody else got out and hopping in and starting the car. I look out of my window toward the trail and see two pairs of eyes staring at me just out of range of the lamp posts. They stared at me before disappearing back into the brush as I drove away, never looking back. I arrived at the ranger station. It was all the way by the park entrance, and I ran inside looking disheveled and terrified. I must have looked completely nuts. I began telling the ranger at the desk what had just happened. He then looked at me with a sad face, as if he knew something, like this would happen, and called up search and rescue. The team was to come in the morning to look for them. They were never found. Not a one of them. And with that is the story of Out of the Dark. And again, it is by Reddit user Janky Tank. Now, for the outro, I just wanted to give you some channel news. Some not so great news. I had a filling fall out, and it turned out that the original dentist who put the filling in hadn't cleaned out everything before he put the filling in. So I lost half a tooth. So I don't know, it's a year of dental distress for me. So hopefully, because I know it's going to wind up in a root canal, because I lost half my tooth. There's no way to save it. It's gonzo. So I know there's going to be a root canal. So I don't know if I will be able to provide you with 2 stories. Well, by the time you hear this, it's going to go to the editors. I don't know if by the time you hear this, you're going to get another story this week or the following week. It might not be 2 stories. It might be 1, or it might be me on here sounding like a total crackhead because I'm trying to talk in severe oral pain. But I don't know. I will still always try to get you the 2 stories. We're trying to move up to 3 stories. In fact, I'm going to link my Patreon. I will. I swear to God, I will. I mean, it's just if anybody wants to chip in to help pay for, extra edits, etc., because my computer is broken. So I hire professional editors. Also, they're better at editing than I am. So I want these videos to look great. I want to honor the stories. etc. Now, if you submit a story and I have to change, it's just hard to say the words because of the way it's written. Sometimes there's not the right flow. I will let you know because I have had one submitted. Actually, that was wonderful. But sometimes if there's excessive swearing, obviously I will try to cut some of the swearing out or replace the words with something different. But in the meantime, wish me luck. I am terrified of the dentist. In fact, my next true story time might be, I don't know, all the fears I have of dentistry and any scary fantasies I have when they go to numb me up. It's not a sedation dentist, unfortunately, but at the same time, it's not worth dying over. So actually, you got the whole story, Out of the Dark by Janky Tank. I hope you enjoyed. Hope I didn't babble too much at the end. And I hope you hang in there. If you don't get 2 stories one of these weeks, know that I'm going to try anyway. And if it sounds horrible, forget it. Also, I did part 1 of Secret Laboratory story. And me and the author and I, however you want to say it, I'm not sure. We discussed it several times, and I got permission to do 2 of his stories. And by the time I went on vacation, came back, so I could, because I had no internet, he deleted the story. The second half of the story. So I wrote him and I'm like, yo, I just did half of it. You really wanted me to do the Secret Laboratory, so where's the story? So I'm not saying he's a bad person. I don't know what happened. So hopefully I'll hear back from him. So you will get the second part of Secret Laboratory story. But if I don't hear back from him in the next week or 2, because I like to line things up before I do them, I might just delete the first half, which will really suck, because I don't feel comfortable just writing a second half and deciding this is what's going to happen. So for now, just use your imagination. Hopefully, I will hear back from the author and he will just send me the story. If I have no idea why he deleted it. There's another story he said I could do, but I don't want to do it until I know what's up. So that's what's going on. Thank you for hanging out the extra couple minutes. And if I link Streamlabs, Patreon, I'm not going to ask for $100 or whatever. I know I'm a small channel, but if you're one of the first patrons, I will be sure to give a shout out, thank you every video, whatever. We'll figure something out. Maybe I'll even discuss with you what you'd like to see as one of my first patrons, because I've, again, only ever used Patreon to support fellow creators. But I myself am not rich. Far from it. Very far from it. So, and I spend a lot of money doing this. So, it is what it is. If you want to chip in, great. If not, enjoy the stories and leave a thumbs up, tap the subscribe bell, share, and warn them that I do tend to babble in the outro. I'm trying to cut out babbling in the intro. And hey, wanna collab? On collabs, I don't babble. So there you go. So let me know if you're a fellow creator and want to collab, or if you're a sub, want to give me a story, or once Patreon is in my info down below, let me know. Okay, thank you so much. And hopefully you'll hear from me twice next week.